Yes, I'd rather be with you. That song is so unbelievably funky, beautiful, and disrespectful. Listen to it. At the end, the dudes say, I'm gonna stick my love in your eye, baby. You gonna stick your love in my eye? What you wanna do, Bootsy? Blind me? Bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. You know why? Because the lippies are in. Today's red lips is Michelle Red. Ooh. Ooh. And look at these bangles, y'all. Ooh. Ooh. These are my Layana bangles wrapped in silk. Ooh, you're welcome. On and off again, over the years, we had shared bills with Mother's Finest, an Atlanta-based funk rock band. Oh, y'all know Mother's Finest. They played great, had a great look, wrote real nice songs. I liked their whole operation. At one of the shows we played with them in the early 70s, they had a little rocket on a string that used to shoot up from off stage and pass right over people's head. It was just a firecracker, nothing more than that really. But it was exciting to the people. And in those smaller venues, I took note of it. When Mothership Connection came out, and especially after Give Up the Funk took off, I went to Neil and I told him that I wanted a real spaceship. George Clinton said, I want a spaceship like the Mother's Finest too. That's what Neil said. Okay. You got it, brother. All you need to do is just tell me what you want. I'll get it for you because y'all making us a whole lot of money. So what he did, okay, because he old financial, genius, so we thought, okay? But he old financial genius. He went down there to the bank and arranged for George Clinton to get $1 million loan, okay, to get $1 million loan for them to get this spaceship. Problem was all that money didn't go towards the spaceship, okay? What happened was a lot of the band members got old cars, fancy cars. George Clinton said he even got a car. He couldn't understand that because he like saying to himself, what I need a car for? I don't even need a damn license. I don't even want to drive. George Clinton, I believe that this ninja is 80 years old and never drove a car. I had an aunt like that, my Aunt Crystal, and I got a cousin like that. Cousin Sway. Do That Stuff, which turned out to be a single, was a blazing funk song. Gaming on You had that elastic, bootsy feel that we had perfected back on Chocolate City. But the title song was where I started to sketch the outlines of a more elaborate and internal consistent P-Funk mythology. On Mothership Connection, we had introduced Starchild, an interplanetary being who helped bring funk to Earth. On Clones, we added Dr. Funkenstein, who was my alter ego. He was Starchild's boss, a kind of emperor of intergalactic funk, and he introduced himself via song. Call me the Big Pill, Dr. Funkenstein, the disco fiend with the monster sound. Dr. Funkenstein was me, and I was Dr. Funkenstein. Expressing myself through characters was comfortable to me. Every day I'm always, aiming to recreate a character that I loved as I grew up. Neil, that's Neil Bogart, head of Casablanca, supported us through all of it. I'm not sure he understood the band very well at that point, but he had our backs. The Clones of Dr. Funkenstein was recorded at United Sound, and most of it was recorded quickly. If The Clones of Dr. Funkenstein was a shot in the arm for Parliament, there was still a matter of a broader P-Funk empire. Now, this is my part. Y'all know I love Bootsy. I love Bootsy. I just want you to I don't even know if he got teeth anymore. Well, I mean, it would be nice if those was his teeth. I mean, we know they're not dentures because they would be better, right? But whenever I see Bootsy, I just be so happy that he is still alive, funking up the universe. I love it, you know? And the character that George Clinton created him to be, he's still that character, and I love it. In the months after Chocolate City, Bootsy and I had started wearing rhinestones and studs on our jeans, dressing in the fashion of the times, but still making the clothes themselves, okay? That's honorable. You know what I'm saying? That's very, very honorable. You know, I wish that I had the capacity to sketch out an outfit and create it. In that first phase of presenting Bootsy, there was another little nod to Mother's Finest. Just as there had been with the mothership, they had a bass player named Jerry C., who went by the name Wizard, okay? Bootsy took this to a new level. Since he was such a great live performer, I knew we would have to develop a character for him that could translate to the stage, a pose, an outfit, and a style. As it would turn out, the most important part of his costume was the star-shaped glasses. I got him those somewhere in New York. They said at first they was like a small pair of glasses, right? But then they developed them into the glasses that he still wear now, okay? And he still does it. George Clinton and Bootsy developed Bootsy's character together. It works, okay? If I ever go see Bootsy in concert and he don't have them star glasses on and that big ass hat, I'm gonna be mad. Bootsy's emergence as a solo artist was a long time coming. Ever since I first saw him in Cincinnati when Malia Franklin brought us around to meet the Collins boys. Now, Bootsy wasn't just about Bootsy. Another commendable thing. There's so many things about the whole Parliament Funkadelic that I am absolutely in love with, okay? There's so much integrity now. George Clinton, okay, you said a lot of things in his book, you know, that made you look good, you know, with little sprinkles of things that made you kind of look kind of bad. Now, Bootsy and his brother worked within the Parliament Funkadelic Judge. All along, Bootsy had reached back to his childhood and created a rubber band. As luck would have it, there actually was a rubber band, and they took center stage on the first record. They were basically Bootsy's group from Cincinnati. It was him, Catfish, his brother, and Frank Waddy. We added in lots of P-Funk personnel. Gary Scheider, you know, I don't want to fight y'all no more, and Glenn Goins and Bernie and myself. Boogie, who played bass in the main group, switched over to the drums on some of Bootsy's recordings. It was a hell of a band. His singers were unbelievable. Robert Peanut Johnson and Gary Mudbone Cooper. The first rubber band record came out in August 1976 at exactly the same time as Mothership Connection. The first single was I'd Rather Be With You. I'd rather be with you, ooh, yeah. Oh, I love that song, ooh. Yes, I'd rather be with you. Ooh, that song is so unbelievably funky, beautiful, and disrespectful. Listen to it. At the end, the dudes say, I'm gonna stick my love in your eye, baby. You wanna stick your love in my eye? What you want to do, Bootsy? Blind me? Then we released the title song, Stretching Out, in a rubber band, an anthem that announced the new band's arrival. With R&B as a foundation rather than the blues and Mutron bass rather than the guitar, this album also marked the first time I truly understood what people like Neil and David Copperlick had been telling me, that art needed something bright to pop so the people could see it. I saw the pictures of Boosie on a motorcycle with a white suit and those star glasses. The force of it hit me all at once. Okay. We spent the fall of that bicentennial year in Newburgh, New York, with the entire population of the P-Funk Nation. We traveled with 30 or 40 musicians then, plus our crew. We commandeered a local motel and set up shop. We were in Newburgh as a prelude to our fall tour, and we needed all the time we could to prepare. So they had to practice, but it was so many of them, you can't just go to a venue and practice. You can't. Plus, you have to utilize time wisely. They all needed to be able to practice at the same time and not interfere with each other. You can't do that, okay? You can't have Boosie right here, and Parliament right here and Funkadelic right here. Their music is going to clash into each other. So they need to be able to be in a space at the same time practicing. The P-Funk stage equipment had come from Aerosmith, who had retired in 1976. I didn't know that they retired in 1976. Did Steven Tyler ever have a solo career or something? I didn't know that. I thought they've been doing that thing for a long time. Oh, but you know what? A lot of them had drug issues too. Rehearsing P-Funk for the Mothership Tour was like deploying an army because of all the equipment, all the lighting cues, and the complexity of the staging. It was important to hit certain spots in certain songs at exactly the right time. Now, let me tell you what they did. They had an airport hangar thingy, where all the airports come in, sit their ass down until they go back up in the sky. And they were able to practice at different ends of the area without disturbing each other. I can dig it. It's cost efficient, and remember, it's not about the money right now. Okay, because all the money that they're making, they're putting back into the band. Along the way up there in Newburgh, we managed to finish up our record for Warner Brothers. There wasn't much of a concept for Hardcore Jollies other than the title, Hardcore Jollies. Finally, after weeks of rehearsing every song and every stage cue, after nailing down every second of the production, we were ready to kick off the P-Funk Earth Tour. It debuted in October 1976 at the Municipal Auditorium in New Orleans. Remember when George Clinton was like, ooh, I'm about to take that idea from Mother's Finest. They got a little rocket ship and shit hanging over top of the people's head out there in the audience. Answer no, okay? They around there in New Orleans, right? And the ship or the spaceship or whatever it is that they had hanging over top of the audience was looking a little fugazi. Okay. George playing, he like, oh shit. It got sparks there. People done paid their good money and their lives is in danger. Oh, the sparks is flying down on the people's head. Oh no, we got to get rid of this ship. This might be a liability. He said after about 20 shows, that ship had to go, okay? Because we trying to keep all our money so we can create more music, more props, more things that make Parliament Funkadelic great. Child, this is another thing, right? So they around there in Norman, Oklahoma, okay? He said a woman walked straight up to the stage while they was performing, smoking a joint. George Clinton, that wasn't a joint. That was a dipper, okay? Because what I'm about to tell y'all, you going to be like, oh, no, that ain't no regular weed. Answer no. Ding, no. What's going on is they playing, get up on the downstroke. And they see this white woman walking to the stage. All she got on is a pair of overalls, okay? When she get to the stage, she unsnaps her overall and she there butt naked, shaking it. Ow, ow. The audience is laughing so hard at the lady that the roar is overpowering the music, okay? Because people can't stop looking and laughing at this lady at the front of the stage, naked, shaking her ass and her titty. Every time they tried to start it back up, the crowd would start laughing again because the lady wouldn't go back to her seat, okay? I don't understand why George Clinton just say, who is that that's always in the corner? Who was that, Calvin? Always in the corner? The dude from Vietnam, that shell shock that wears suits to every show? Why the hell they just ain't make his ass Go down there and get her and take her to her seat, or at least throw some water on her or something. The P-Funk Earth Tour mainly documented Parliament, but that was only part of the P-Funk story. And it didn't tell how all of the other artists were helping to create a new genre. The most important, of course, was Bootsy and his rubber band. In the studio, all of us worked on the Bootsy record. But when he played live, he took the stage with a stripped down group. Just him, Bone, and Peanut.
When Bootsy took the lead on the charts, everyone inside the organization started telling me that it was only fair to make him the headliner. I agreed. And so we let him top the bill one night. Rick James was playing with us, and he was complaining all afternoon. He felt even more trivialized. He didn't want to go on stage at all. We followed Rick, and our set closed, as always, with Glenn calling the mothership down. When we wrapped our set, we went off stage, and as we passed Bootsy, it was clear that he was quaking. Nobody could follow the spaceship. We had been nervous that night before the show, and he was worse afterwards. He would have been worse still the night if we had moved him back to his middle position.
So George Clinton kind of glossed over this situation. I see you, nigga. I see you, okay? According to the George Clinton, okay, Rickety James was crying like a baby, okay? Part of the reason is because Rickety James was still in his feelings about when you was stealing his boogity sugar. Now, what Rick James said before he became the funk prince, he had dealt with George Clinton, okay? He's not exactly on top, but George Clinton know who he is, okay? And because Rickety James is not making music like that, and because he has a drug problem himself, he is selling boogity sugar. Rick James, his eyes is big, he's like, George, I'm aspiring to be the funk master, the funk king like you. I want to be just like you when I grow up. George Clinton go, yeah, I heard you got that boogity sugary, that good boogity sugary, give me some of it. George Clinton had made Rickety James a promise that I will get you on with my label. Just keep bringing over that good boogity sugary, okay? Rickety James continued to bring in that boogity sugary on like one or two more times. And then he realized George is full of shit because that promise never came to fruition. So what Rickety James said, that he made sure that he exhausted the audience when he played before George Clinton. Okay, he said that he wanted to make sure that the audience was so funked out that they didn't even have energy for Parliament Funkadelic. Okay, that's what Rickety James said. That's not what George Clinton said. Now, I don't know how the show went because George Clinton is very evasive. All he said was that Rickety James was a crybaby. But he wasn't his feelings, George. You kind of carried him. Now, remember also, George Clinton is cheap. Remember, we have spoke about this previously about how George Clinton's like, no. We don't do that boogity sugary. Now, we'll do it if somebody bring it around, but we're not about to spend our good money on that. Rickety James came through with the boogity sugary, giving it to George Clinton, thinking that he would be rewarded with an opportunity to get on his label. He threw you in a trick bag. Rickety James. Now, I knew we had to do a solo record for Eddie Hazel, but first they had to get that guy out of jail, okay? Because remember, he was on the plane smoking them dippers and got arrested for hitting the air marshal in the face. We had to get Eddie out of jail to do the record. He was in prison up at Lopop after his altercation with the air marshal, and some guys at Casablanca were able to pull strings and get him out. He rolled back with us, did the album, and then went straight back to prison. What the hell? What the hell? Child Bank, do you know it's men in jail right now that can't even go to their own mammy's funeral? We also made an album for Fred Wesley and Maceo Parker. Maceo is, that's the Maceo that is with, that was with James Brown, okay? Which we credited to Fred Wesley and the Horny Horns. Fred and Maceo wanted their own project, and they had helped us plenty, so we helped them. Now here comes Porsha's GrandPappie, okay? As we started to tour with the mothership, as it became clear that we were a major concert draw, there were people who started to lament what they perceived as a lack of fairness. Most of it centered around race. A group in Atlanta hired the civil rights activists Hosea Williams to picket our show because we didn't have a black promoter. Remember, Aretha Franklin had to go through that. Okay? My thing is, why does it have to matter what color the person is? You know, it should matter who's going to get you the money. Okay? If anything was to ever happen to me larger than YouTube, I don't give a fuck what color they are. I don't care. I want the person who has my best interest at heart. Now, if they black, purple, red, alien, cat, dog, rabbit, squirm, I don't care what it is, okay? Whoever has my best interest and can do the job effectively, that's who I'm gonna hire. Anyway, let's talk about Porsha, GrandPappie. Porsha, I love you, girl. I love you. That's another cancel, okay? I love you, girl. I ain't, disrespecting your grandfather, but hold tight because we get ready to get the story. So anyway, they at the event. Porsha's GrandPappie came through the door with his briefcase, threw it up there, ready.
What the hell is going on here, okay? You got some explaining to do, George Clinton.
Hosea is ready, willing, and able to take the whole shit down if he want to, because that's a powerful mother hunchy, okay? Hosea was right there with the Martin Luther and the King. What Hosea didn't know, probably some, petty ass, bitch asses that didn't know the whole full scope of what Parliament did, called him, was like, yeah, they don't have a black promoter, and probably a black promoter, yeah, they not hiring me. What happened was, when they sitting at the table with each other, that would mean George Clinton and Hosea, George Clinton said to him, well, we're not using a black promoter, but did you know that 25 cents from every ticket that we sell goes to the United Negro College Fund? Who knew? Yeah, they over there getting high. Yeah, they over there, doing whatever it is they do. They got a white promoter, but 25 cents of every ticket sold goes towards United Negro College Fund. George Clinton said in the book that Hosea closed his briefcase and left.
After clones, the money started to come more easily. We were proven as chart performers. Everyone assumed that the next Parliament record would up their ante again. But even in the new environment, some bands couldn't quite take advantage.
This dude be killing me, okay? But anyway, the All Players, for example, were a band I loved. They were supremely talented with smoking grooves and the ability to really put it across on stage. But in their formative years, they didn't play in front of large crowds with any regularity. And so when they started to have big hits and get more money to make their records, they couldn't adjust to being a bigger live presence. They knew how to play to people standing right before them, when they could see the crowd with their eyes and feed off their energy. But when we played with them at the Summit in Houston, they showed up with their small column speakers that echoed when you shook them. They insisted on using them no matter how big the house was. It was like putting a high school gym in the middle of an arena. Girl, we had rivalries with every band to some degree, or at very least, we were careful to always look around and keep track of the competition. The biggest black group other than us at the time was Earth, Wind, and Fire. Now, if you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, and subscribe, because it is so important to our success here on the YouTube. Now remember this, the same people that you meet on the way up will always be the same people that you meet on the way down. My naysayers, my patron loves. You babies, have a good one.